how the markets are doing right now. For sure, markets have bounced back from the kind of downtick that we saw in trade yesterday. Let's pull up the Nifty 50 as well as the Sensex and see how they're doing in trade today. Nifty 50 has held up the 1% gain since the start of the trade today, as well as the Sensex is up by about 1% odd. Let's also see how the Nifty Bank is doing. Nifty Bank as well is seeing gains of about 1% odd. The broader markets are seeing to be doing a tad bit lower as compared to how the benchmarks are doing, but the mid cap 150 is up by about 0.8% odd and the small cap 250 is up by about 0.9% odd. Let's pull up the Nifty 50 heat map and see what counters are buzzing in trade today. There you go. There's Adani Enterprises, that's up almost 2% odd. Adani Ports up 4%, Geo Finance up 2.5%, L&T up 2.5% as well, Ultratech up 2.3%, Shriram Finance up 2%, M&M also up 2% odd. Wipro also doing well in trade today, has bounced back from yesterday, up by about 2% odd. There's JSW Steel, Tata Motors, SBI, Tata Steel, DRL as well as Titan, all up by about 1% odd. So heavyweights doing the work, and that's why we're seeing gains of about 1% odd in the Nifty. But some counters that are under pressure, there are hardly 5 counters in the Nifty 50 that are under pressure, which is NTPC down by about 2.5% odd, followed by ONGC. There's Bharat Electronics as well as IndusInd Bank, which is down by about 1% odd, and followed by Tata Consumer, which is almost flat in trade today. Let's also pull up the advanced decline ratio and see how the entire advanced decline ratio is panning out right now. Let's pull up this chart and see what's the ratio looking like. In terms of the overall markets, there you go. There's around 1900 odd advances versus that of 350 odd decline. So that's almost 6:1 ratio. In terms of sectoral indices as well, there's significant gains seen in PSU Bank, which was under pressure yesterday. PSU Banks is seeing gains of about 2% odd. Nifty Metal up around 1.5% odd, followed by Nifty IT seeing gains about 1.5% after seeing the kind of downtick of around 1% odd in trade yesterday. Nifty Finance, Nifty Consumption, as well as Nifty Bank and Nifty Realty and Nifty Pharma all up by 1% odd. Only Nifty Defense under pressure, down by about 2.3%. We saw a significant up move in trade yesterday, and now we're seeing profit booking in the Nifty Defense space and down by about 2.3% odd. Let's pull up the Nifty Defense counters and see what counters are seeing significant amount of profit booking. Jeffries had an interesting note today, though. There's BML, which is down 6% odd. There's Garden Reach down by 5% odd. Mishra Dhatu down by about 4% odd, followed by Astra Macro, Pars Defense, Bharat Dynamics as well as Zen Technology. Also, almost all counters in the red when it comes to the Nifty Defense. Let's also pull up the BSE 500 and see what are the stocks that are buzzing at the broader end of the spectrum. There you go. There's JM Financial, which is up 9%. Swan Energy on the back of the new partnership with Balu Forge up 6%. Capri Global up 5%. Garvare Technical up 4%. KPIT, Mishra Dhatu, Bharat Dynamics, Oil India seeing pressure. Nykaa also down by about 3% odd. But with that, let's also welcome in our guest for the day. We're joined by Swati Hotkar of Nirmal Bang and Avinash Gorakshakar of Profit Mart Securities joining us now. A very good morning to both of you and welcome to NDTV Profit. The first question that I'm taking today is on IDFC First Bank. This is from Sanjay, who's writing. He's holding 300 odd shares of IDFC First Bank, bought at 786 a piece. And he's been holding this since the past 11 odd months and wants to know if he can continue holding this for the next 2 odd months or not. Swati, I'll come to you on this one. What would you reckon?
Yes, I will suggest to hold on because already the Bank Nifty is really doing very well and we are likely to witness some sort of a positive momentum into PSU as well as the private banks. So I believe one should definitely hold on this particular counter. Upside, it has a very good potential to reach up to 75 to 78 levels. So as long as the counter trades above 68 levels, which is the support provided by short-term moving averages, you can hold on the positions for a target of 75 to 78 levels on the high side.
All right, so that's with regards to where IDFC First Bank stands. A quick reminder to all the viewers who are watching this, you can either call us or WhatsApp us on the numbers that are flashing on your screen right now. All right, the next question then is on Protein eGov. This is also a short-term question. We don't have the name of the person, but he's holding 1,000 odd shares, bought at 970 a piece, and wants to know if he can hold this for the next 3 to 6 odd months. Swati, on the charts, how is Protein eGov faring?
Yeah, my view is a little bit cautious because in this particular counter from the last 2.5 months, we are continuously facing a selling pressures from the higher levels of 1400. Now the counter is trading at 870, and it has given the cluster supports breakdown, which is the really cautious point past 3 days back as such. And I believe that such kind of a selling pressure is likely to be seen or extended at least towards to 850 to 840 levels. So up to that level, we might witness some sort of a selling pressure. But the interesting point is that the counter has entered into the oversold zone. It will try to maintain the support of at least 820 to 840 level. Up to that level, we can see the selling pressure. But beyond that levels, after that levels, we might witness some sort of a pullback or the reversal. So if you're looking for a 6 to 8 months duration of the holding period, then definitely you can hold on, not to book the losses at the current market price. Let the stock find out the support levels at a downward, and then we can see some sort of a reversal which might take a counter towards to 940 to 1000 levels. So it's a hold from my end at the current levels.
Hold is the view on Protein Ego from a 3 to 6 months perspective. All right, the next question is from E. Venkataramanan, who's writing in from Bengaluru. He's holding 165 shares of Sun Pharma Advanced Research at an average price of 204 per share accumulated over 1 year, and wants to know if he can continue to hold this for the next few odd months. Avinash, I'll come to you on this one. Sun Pharma Advanced Research is the counter. What's the view like?
No, I think Mahima, as far as Spark is concerned, this is a company which is largely into research activity, and I think the previous quarter numbers were not very encouraging. So I think, if the investor has a slightly medium term view, I think if he can hold on for the next 12 to 15 months, then I think he can definitely hope to get a decent risk reward, because this business is a very lopsided business. It's not a very secular kind of growth business. Whenever there is a new drug discovery, it becomes successful, then only I think the company makes a decent amount of margin. In case the experiment does not work out well, then the entire experiment losses have to be booked in the company's accounts. So I think, keeping a long-term view, I think definitely he can look at it. But if he's looking at just few months, then I think it's better that he exits, because this is not going to give any immediate short-term triggers. Only over the next, say, 12 to 15 months, he could expect a decent risk reward.
All right, so if you're a long-term holder, continue to hold. But if you're looking at this from a short-term perspective, exit the counter is the view coming in from Avinash. All right, the next question is from Somik, who's writing in from Kolkata. He's bought 10 odd shares of Trill, that is Transformers and Rectifiers India, at an average price of 506, and wants to know that if he can add more at the current levels. And this is from a 5-year horizon perspective. Avinash, I'll again come to you on this one. What's the outlook like on Trill?
No, I think he can definitely add at the current level, because I think the order book continues to be strong. The visibility is very solid, and I think power transformers, typically the business in which Trill is concerned, is definitely growing by leaps and bounds. In fact, we believe that the power generation sector and all ancillary kind of themes which are connected to the power generation sector are going to do well. So I think if he's got a 12 to 18 month kind of time frame, he should stay invested. He can use any decline in the stock price to add his positions here.
Okay, so that's with regards to where Trill stands. Our next question is from Chanchal Nandwana, who's writing in from Mumbai, and wants to know the outlook for Federal Bank from a next 3 to 4 months perspective. Swati, what are the charts indicating for Federal Bank, and what is the support and resistance that you're seeing?
See, the view is definitely positive. Downside, it has a very good support at around 200 levels provided by previous swing supports levels. Overall, the counter is doing really well, trading in the formations of the high top, high bottom, or we can say the upward rising channel. For a short-term period of time, the immediate target is 215. Beyond that level, 225 levels can be seen, which is nearby its all-time high levels. So definitely one can hold their long positions by keeping a strict stop loss of 200 for immediate target of 215, then 225 levels on high side.
All right, so that's with regards to where Federal Bank stands. Our next question is from Sanjay, who's writing it from Noida. He's bought 425 odd shares of Orient Cement at 240 and wants to know if he can add more at the current levels from a longer term perspective. And he's specifically written that this question is for Avinash. Avinash, what's the outlook like for Orient Cement?
No, I think you can definitely add on to the current level. I think Orient Cement definitely should do well in the current year, and hopefully the second half should be significantly better. I think the first half is normally a little softer kind of period because of the monsoon period. But I think Orient Cement is expanding its capacities, plus they've been getting better realizations in the market. So overall, I think looking at the kind of infra, I think opportunity and the kind of government expenditure lined up.
I stand here today not as a chairman, but as a fellow citizen, humbled by the silent sacrifices of those who guard our borders, our families, and our dignity. This year, during Operation Sindoor, our brave men and women in uniform stood tall, not for fame, not for medals, but for duty. Their courage reminded us that peace is never free. It is earned. And that the freedom to dream, to build, and to lead stands firmly on the shoulder of those who protect. ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ने बता दिया कि भारत शांति की कीमत जानता है, मगर कोई आंख दिखाए तो उसको उसकी भाषा में जवाब देना भी जानता है. As we salute our armed forces, we also bow our heads in grief for the lives lost in the tragic crash of Air India Flight 171. So many dreams were silenced in an instant. So many families were forever changed. May we therefore carry both our gratitude and our grief as a reminder of what truly matters. My dear shareholders, the world around us has changed dramatically over the past 12 months. Over 60 nations went to the polls. Borders were redrawn. Alliances tested, and economies shaken. In the Middle East, war continued to cast shadows on energy and logistics. In Europe, economic confidence stumbled. The United States had its own challenges. And yet, in the middle of all this noise, India stood apart and grew faster than any other major nation. This is not a coincidence. It is the result of a vision, of intent, of policy. I say this with a full conviction that the Indian government, both at the center and across the states, has laid down the foundation for a truly historic transformation. A transformation not of a few, but for an entire nation whose best chapters are just beginning. My dear shareholders, as a youngster, I saw my mother as my guiding star. I recall her often saying, "History does not remember sailors who sailed in a still waters. It remembers those who fought the wildest storms and yet returned home." कहते हैं, लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, हिम्मत करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. And my dear shareholders, that is exactly what we have done. Even in the face of the storms and relentless scrutiny, the Adani Group has never backed down. Instead, we proved that a true leadership is not built in sunshine. It is constructed in the fire of crisis. This was tested again last year when we faced allegations from the US Department of Justice and the ACC relating to Adani Green Energy. Despite all the noise, the facts are that no one from the Adani Group has been charged with violating the FCPA or conspiring to obstruct justice. We live in a world where negativity often echoes louder than the truth. And as we cooperate with the legal processes, let me also restate that our governance is of global standards and our compliance frameworks are non-negotiable. And our numbers tell their own story. Even in a year of turbulence, we saw record-breaking revenue, unprecedented growth, and historic profitability. We are a proof of a group that dares to dream beyond constraints and powered by a nation that breathes possibility into every tomorrow ahead of us. Therefore, I say, मंजिलें क्या है, रास्ता क्या है, हौसला हो तो फासला क्या है. My dear shareholders, in FY25, our numbers were strong across all our sectors. We did more than just scale. We created impact, inspired change, and most importantly, deepened our national commitment. Let me walk you through a few examples of our progress. Adani Power crossed 100 billion units of generations, a scale never before matched by any private sector company. It is now well on track to reach 31 gigawatt capacity by 2030. Adani Green is building world's largest renewable energy park right here in India and visible even from space. From Khavda to the world, our target of 50 gigawatt by 2030 is a proof that scale and sustainability can coexist. In fact, when we combine our thermal, renewable, and pump hydro generations capacities, we expect to have 100 gigawatt capacity by 2030. Adani Energy Solutions handles smart metering, high voltage links, and is keeping India's grid future ready. It secured close to 44,000 crores in a transmission order and is executing 13,600 crore worth of smart metering projects. Adani New Industries is building electrolyzers and solar modules at a global scale, aligned with India's green goals. It is on track to expand its solar module manufacturing lines and will have a 10 gigawatt integrated solar module manufacturing facility in place by the next financial year. Adani Ports handled a record 450 million metric ton of cargo and became the beating heart of India's trade. With marine, trucking, warehousing, and even freight forwarding, we are creating a transport utility for the future. And in line with the Honorable Prime Minister's Gati Shakti mission, our logistic assets are powering MSME exports and reducing friction to increase India's global competitiveness. Natural resources produce a record 47 million tons of coal and iron ore and is on track to achieve over 30% growth by FY26. We also pioneered India's first hydrogen-powered mining truck. 2.5 years ago, when we acquired Holcim's cement business in India, we had made a bold commitment to double our capacity to 140 million ton by FY 27-28. Today, I am proud to share that we have already achieved 72% of that target and crossed the 100 million ton per annum milestones. The fact is, we don't just build business, we build India's capabilities. Adani Airports also had a massive year of growth. We handled a record 94 million passengers in FY25. We also completed the first test flight at the Greenfield Navi Mumbai International Airport. This airport will open later this year with an initial passenger capacity of 20 million, of what will then become a 90 million passenger airport, giving us a 35% share of our India's airport passenger traffic. When it comes to Adani Defense, Operation Sindoor called and we delivered. Our drones became the eyes in the skies, as well as the swords of attack, and our anti-drone systems help protect our forces and citizens. As I have always believed, we don't operate in a safe zones. We operate where it matters, where India needs us the most. And the same applies to building the data centers India needs to stay competitive and secure. We have projects exceeding hundreds of megawatt in various stages of constructions with the global hyperscalers, and have also launched gigawatt scale renewable powered data center campuses across multiple states. Coming to Adani Total Gas, this business now serves 1 million PNG customers and runs 3,400 EV charging stations across 22 states. This is real climate actions, not just climate talk. But perhaps our most transformative project is unfolding in Dharavi, Asia's largest slum, now being reimagined as India's most ambitious urban rehabilitation project. Our Dharavi social mission is uplifting youth through skilling, healthcare, and employment programs. And over 1 million people will move from our narrow lanes to our townships that will feature spacious layouts, dual toilets, open spaces, schools, hospitals, transit hubs, and parks. My dear shareholders, in terms of consolidated numbers at the group level, revenues grew by 7%, EBITDA by 8.2%, and our net debt to EBITDA ratio remained healthy at a 2.6x. Total revenues were 2,71,664 crores, and our adjusted EBITDA was 89,806 crores. And as I have stated in the past, our objective is not to just build businesses. It is to create new possibilities, not just to serve markets, but to serve our nation's destiny, not to chase valuations, but build the valuations brick by brick. And in this context, our capital investment across businesses is set to break all records. We anticipate an annual capex spend of $15 to $20 billion for the next 5 years. These are not just investment in our group, but investment in the possibilities for doing our part to build India's infrastructure. And before I start wrapping up, let me outline some of the programs that have me the most excited. Exactly 3 years ago, on my 60th birthday, my family pledged rupees 60,000 crore to redefine healthcare, education, and skill development in India. The Adani Healthcare temples are our first major steps, world-class, affordable, 1,000-bed campuses in Ahmedabad and Mumbai with medical colleges, research centers, and wellness spaces all integrated together. Mayo Clinic is our partner in guiding us to create a future-ready, AI-powered, patient-first healthcare ecosystems. In parallel, we have committed rupees 2,000 crores to build a world-class skill university and finishing school in Mundra, designed to empower youth from across India. Through schools of excellence, global certifications, and partnerships with leaders like ITES Singapore and IGCC, we aim to create an industry-ready workforce. And finally, let me end by talking about our participations at the Mahakumbh Mela. Over 650 million people came together, not as a strangers, but as a one soul, one purpose, one heartbeat. Along with ISKCON, the Adani Group initiated the Mahaprasad Seva, offering free meals to lakhs of devotees. More than 5,000 of our employees volunteered, reflecting the values we cherish. At the Triveni Sangam, I had the honor of performing the sacred Ganga Aarti with my family. And for the Adani Group to be part of this event was one of the most moving days of my life. My dear shareholders, let me conclude by saying that our nation's future is not written in our policy documents. It is written in the risk its entrepreneurs dare to take. We are not laying concrete. We are laying convictions, highways that carry ambition, ports that ship hope, and grids that light up futures. And history should remember us not for the size of our balance sheets, but for the strength of our backbone. Not for the markets we entered, but for the storms we handled and emerged stronger. For it is easy to lead in sunshine, but true leadership is forged in the face of crisis. कई मोड़ आए, कई तूफान गुजरे, पर कारवां रुका नहीं क्योंकि आप साथ थे. I promise you that the legacy of the Adani Group will not be reflected in the height of the towers it builds, but in the height of the beliefs we execute on. That is our truth. That is our promise. Thank you for being on this journey with us. The greatest chapters of our story are still ahead. Jai Hind. भारत माता की जय.
That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out of there.
गोल्ड प्लस क्लियर ग्लास, पार हो या नियर, सब कुछ दिखे क्लियर.
Sources in ED seeking explanation on Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan Singh on why they are endorsing such platforms which are banned by Government of India, and the mule account and Benami transaction, the kind of promotional payout being given to some of the media houses, the ad rates are between 50 crore to 100 crore.
What happens in reality is that under the garb of skill-based game, they end up promoting gambling only.
27,000 crore is what the tax evasion, the top popular betting apps are actually evading. Between January and March alone, they have seen 1.6 billion of traction.
Imports become the exception rather than the norm, and increasingly we do almost last year, for example, of the contracts that we signed of record 2,09,000 crores, 81% was awarded to the domestic industry. Our intent is to manufacture in India, preferably with design also in India.
I am so elated to be on the same screen as the Defense Secretary, and I get a chance to talk about what he said.
In certain areas, like for example, artillery guns and armored vehicles, or in some categories of missiles like the BrahMos and the Akash, we've come of age.
What Defense Secretary Sir said is 100% true, and today private industry can really increase their involvement in R&D.
I am very proud to say that we make, in our categories that we have been supplying to our defense forces, some of the best platforms in the world.
The markets move fast,
And so should your portfolio. Expert insights, real-time stock picks.
do I buy Ola?
Should I hold CDSL for the long term?
Buy, sell or hold.
The answers you need, straight from the experts.
Callers from India and across the world. Connect live, ask, decide and invest wisely.
Your portfolio, your future. Ask Profit.
Do you really know the company you invest in?
Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit, a show that gets all your stock-related queries answered. For viewers who are just tuning in, you can either call us or WhatsApp us. Now, let's take a quick look as to how the markets are also doing before we go on to the queries. The Nifty 50 trading with that good range of 200 odd points, up 1 odd percent. The Nifty Bank is also up by about 1 odd percent. Mid cap 150 up by about 0.8 odd percent, and small cap 250 is recovering, in fact, and soaring higher up by about 1 odd percent as well. The overall markets are also seeing gains of about 1 odd percent. Nifty Defense is the top losing sector today, down by about 2.3 odd percent, and seeing profit bookings from the gains it saw yesterday. So that's with regards to where the markets stand. We're also joined by Rajesh Bhosle from Angel One, who's joining us now. Rajesh, a very good morning to you and welcome to NDTV Profit. The next question is from Prasannan, who's writing from Hyderabad. He's holding Orchid Pharma stocks, and he's bought this 2 days ago and wants a short-term target on this one, considering the current pharma situation. But since it's a short-term question, Rajesh, I'll take this up with you. What are the charts indicating for Orchid Pharma?
Good morning. And if we see the charts of Orchid Pharma, it's an underperforming stock, continuously trading around its 52-week low. So bias would be that this stock can continue to underperform. So one should look to exit positions on any bounce. So what we are seeing since last 1 year is that any bounce towards its 50 EMA is getting sold into. So from here onwards, if there is any bounce towards 750 or 755, that should be an opportunity to exit position. From pharma space, we have a positive bias on Glenmark Pharma. The stock has shown strong traction since last couple of months and continues to look positive. So switching from Orchid Pharma, he can switch to Glenmark Pharma. Glenmark Pharma looks positive, and possibly from here onwards, it can move towards 1840 to 1850 levels.
Interesting. Switch to Glenmark Pharma from Orchid Pharma is the view coming in from Rajesh. Next question is from Kanan, who's writing in from Kerala, and his question is on KPIT Tech. He's holding 93 odd shares at an average price of 1310 and wants to know if he can add more at the current levels to average out or not for the next 1 to 2 odd years. Avinash, I'll come to you on this one. We had an update on this company yesterday, and it said that it's buying 100% in Caresoft's global engineering business. What's the outlook like when it comes to KPIT Tech? Should he continue to hold and add more at the current levels?
Yeah, I think MyMy can continue to hold within the mid-cap IT company space. KPIT is definitely a promising play. Our sense is that not only is the order book quite encouraging, but I think execution has also been quite solid. My sense is that you could see a little bit of more order book trajectory in the second half of this financial year. And I think if he wants to add, I think he should probably wait for a slight, deeper to moderate correction, and that could possibly give him a better risk reward. But I think definitely 12 to 18 months, if he can hold on, he could definitely expect a decent risk reward going forward.
Continue to hold for the next 12 to 8 months to see a decent reward on KPIT Tech. All right, the next question is from Harshad, who's writing it from Mumbai, saying that he's a senior citizen and he's bought 7,500 odd shares of Suzlon Energy at 68 apiece from a longer term perspective and wants an outlook on this counter. Avinash, I'll again stick with you for this one. Suzlon Energy, what's the outlook like?
I think, currently the price at which he has entered, I think he needs to take at least a 2-year view, because I think wind energy market is growing rapidly. Suzlon is a market leader here. They have a very large order book, which I think continues to give very strong revenue visibility. So I think things stand to be quite positive. But I think in the very near term, there could be some selling pressure because a lot of old investors who have entered earlier may book out, a little bit of profits. But I think recently the company saw a lot of new institutional investors have entered the stock. My sense is that 2 years is definitely a good amount of time frame where he can think of making a decent alpha, and probably he can stay invested here.
Yes. Okay, so that's with regards to where Suzlon Energy stands. Our next caller, Kiran, is calling in from Hyderabad. Kiran, a very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Good morning, ma'am. So I would like to invest ₹4 lakh.
Right.
2 lakhs in Adani Enterprises and 2 lakhs in Tube Investment. Are these the right levels to enter? And I would like to know from both the analysts some stock recommendations from current levels for the short term, ma'am.
Okay, got your question, Kiran. I'll take this up with Rajesh. Rajesh, what he's saying is he's got 4 lakhs to invest in and wants to invest 2 lakh in Adani Enterprises and 2 lakh in Tube Investments. Do you think these are the right levels to make an entry into these two counters?
So if we see the charts of Adani Enterprises, the stock has not participated in the current broader uptrend. But overall, if we see chart structure, it is now started moving in a higher top, higher bottom formation. And also if we see the May month, there was a strong bullish gap left. So we expect from here onwards, there can be a strong traction possibly towards 2750 to 2800 in Adani Enterprises, and strong support is placed around 2350 to 2400 levels. So yes, positive looking ahead, and dips can be bought. The second stock is Tube Investment, currently trading at 793. This stock is already in an uptrend, and we have a positive bias expecting stock to move towards the 900 levels. And on the downside, if we see higher bottom structure is formed around 760 to 750 levels. So in case any dip is there, because last 3-4 sessions the prices have corrected, and if in case there is a dip towards 760 to 750, that would be a great buying opportunity in Tube Investment.
Positive on both the counters with respect to where charts are concerned. Standard disclaimer, NDTV is a part of the Adani Group of companies, so is Adani Enterprises. All right, the next question is from Amit Kumar, who's writing in from Gurgaon. He wants a view on Tata Motors. He's holding 30,000 odd units of Tata Motors bought at 708 a piece. Wants to know if he can continue to hold the counter or not. He's sitting on a loss of 7 lakh rupees right now. Avinash, what do you suggest? The stock has recovered from its lows, of course, but do you recommend him to continue to hold Tata Motors from a longer term perspective?
Yeah, I think Mahima, Tata Motors should be held on. I think you should see a strong volume recovery from September onwards, because I think with a good monsoon, our expectation is that the commercial vehicle sector, especially for the domestic market, should give good traction. Plus, Tata Motors management has clearly indicated that by this December, the demerger of the JLR business and the domestic business is going to happen. So that itself is also going to be a big re-rating trigger for the stock. My sense is that with a good GDP growth, with good infrastructure spending by the government, Tata Motors looks well positioned, and I think downside seems to be protected. So I think definitely one can hold on.
Okay, hold on Tata Motors from a longer term perspective is the view coming in from Avinash. All right, our next caller, Naveen, is calling in from Faridabad. Naveen, a very good morning to you. I believe you have a question on First Cry.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I got this First Cry shares during the IPO, 1 lot.
Okay.
And there is like 27% loss. I thought that it is like would be a play on both e-commerce and then growing demand across India.
Right.
Through the like physical and digital both infrastructure.
Right.
But I think so the earnings are not delivering. So shall I hold this one or shall I transfer to any other stock or something?
Okay, understood your point. Avinash, I'll again come to you on this one. Q4 overall, it was in line with what the street was expecting, the kind of growth that Brainbees saw. But we've seen that overall the counter has done well in Q4. What's the sense like? Can he continue to hold? He's holding it since the IPO.
No, I think the investor is right in saying that the company has underperformed significantly. I think there were very high expectations from First Cry, considering its brand equity, its geographical reach, its product categories. But I think, the investors have been let down. So I think, you could probably wait for another 3 to 6 months. I think everything depends on how the company puts out its performance. And as you rightly pointed out, Q4 has seen a good recovery. We expect that, at least in the first half of FY26, things should get little better. So till that time, I think one should hold on. I think you would take a fresh review once the first half numbers are out.
All right, so hold is the view on Brainbees from a longer term perspective. The next question is from Mufaddal Ansari, who's writing from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. He's holding Lloyd's Engineering shares, bought at 58 a piece, and he's got 511 in quantity and wants to know if he can continue to hold this from a longer term perspective. Avinash, I'll again come to you on this one. Lloyd's Engineering, what's the view like?
No, I think he should hold on. See, company has got a very strong order book of almost 1,500 to 2,000 crores, and I think they are in the engineering business. They have a very large, kind of list of marquee clients. And I think after the rights issue, the stock is stabilized. My sense is that if the investor can hold on for the next 6 to 12 months, he could expect a decent risk reward. I think he's still very near to his cost price, but I think if he can hold on for the next 8 to 12 months, he could expect a decent risk reward.
Okay. Hold on to the next 6 to 8 months for seeing decent returns is the view coming in on Lloyd's Engineering. All right. Our next caller, Sudhir, is calling in from NCR, Delhi. Sudhir, a very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Yeah, good morning. I have 1,200 shares of ACC Limited, averaged at a price of 1885. I picked it up among its cement peers because it came out to be one of the most attractively placed in terms of price to earnings, and it's a profit-making company with no debt.
Right.
So I just want to know the view on this. Should I hold it for another 1 year?
Okay.
Because right now I am at a little loss, but not much. But I can hold it for a period of 1 year.
Okay, so they got your question, and since you've studied this company fundamentally, Avinash is sitting on a loss of 28,000 rupees right now, but do you think he should continue to hold for a year to recover his losses and probably make some profits?
Yeah, I think my sense is I think he needs to give in some more time here. I think ACC is now Adani Group company, and I think clearly in terms of volume, in terms of the opportunity for infrastructure, I think cement is going to be a very important building block. I think, if we can give in at least say 12 to 15 months and wait for the FY26 numbers to be out, definitely pricing is improving, volumes are going up. So I think he needs to give in a little more time before he, takes a decent risk reward. So I think better to hold and not panic now.
All right. Standard disclaimer here again. The NDTV is a part of the Adani Group of companies. With that, Avinash and Rajesh, we're completely out of time on this edition of Ask Profit. Thank you so much for joining in and giving us all of those insights. But viewers, stay tuned in. Know your company on the other side.
गोल्ड प्लस ऑप्टिमिस्टिक रिफ्लेक्टिव ग्लास लगाओ, धूप की गर्मी को दूर भगाओ और बिजली का बिल भी बचाओ।
Imports become the exception rather than the norm, and increasingly we do almost last year, for example, of the contracts that we signed of record 2,09,000 crores, 81% was awarded to the domestic industry. Our intent is to manufacture in India, preferably with design also in India.
I am so elated to be on the same screen as the Defense Secretary, and I get a chance to talk about what he said.
In certain areas, like for example, artillery guns and armored vehicles, or in some categories of missiles like the BrahMos and the Akash, we've come of age.
What Defense Secretary Sir said is 100% true, and today private industry can really increase their involvement in R&D.
I am very proud to say that we make, in our categories that we have been supplying to our defense forces, some of the best platforms in the world.
Sources in ED seeking explanation.